Hello, everyone. This is Rob once again with Media Awareness. Welcome back. In this particular segment, I'm going to be covering another music suggestion that you should check out. However, this one is by an established artist. I did initially state that I would be occasionally highlighting albums by well known artists that may or may not have slipped through the cracks for one reason or another. And in this case, this is one of those albums. I'm talking about David Bowie, and the album is. Let's see here. Black Tie, White Noise. Now, this is a special edition. As you can see, the spine is a lot thicker, and I'll explain why in a minute. But this album is sort of a lost gem in Bowie's collection. It was released just after the second Tin Machine tour, and it actually features Ray Gabrels of Tin Machine on guitar, who would then go on to work with Bowie on a few other albums afterwards, Outside and Earthling. And this particular album is something that I always liked this album, and I liked it because it was it was new Bowie, it was '90s Bowie, but it was very significant in terms of him embracing modern sounds at that point in time. And there was one track on this album, the lead single Jump They Say, which was featured on Bowie's 2 CD set best of singles collection. But that was the only song that was featured, and it kind of sparked my interest because I thought this is a really unique song. I'm digging this. So I did track down my original copy of the album down in actually Florida, of all places, and I listened to it down there constantly. I thought it was a work of art, and I still think of Black Tie White Noise in that regard. Now, this is what the actual CD looks like. It's identical to the box, and this is a replica. It's actually just a reissue, I think, of the actual original disc with the disc inside. The reason why the box is so thick, however, is we have a bonus disc. But before I get to that, on the original disc, my hunch is that this album was expected to be more successful than it actually was in terms of overall fan and just domestic appeal. And I say that because there were a multitude, and I do mean multitude, of singles off this album. And there were songs that could have been singles off this album, but there were so many videos shot for this album, and so many singles, yet there were no hits off this album. I think a lot of that had to do with a few factors. One, in I want to say it was 1990 or so, Bowie had announced that he was doing his greatest hits tour. He was taking suggestions and votes for songs he should perform. And this would be the last time that he was supposedly going to perform said songs. Of course, if you're a Bowie fan, you know that later on he kind of went back on that principle, started gradually incorporating his older hits back into the set list. Black Tie White Noise is spectacular. I love a lot of these songs. They're some of my favorite Bowie songs. You've Been Around, which was a leftover Tin Machine track, reworked on this album. We have a cover of Cream's I Feel Free. The title track, Black Tie White Noise. A cover of Nite Flights. A cover of Morrissey's I Know It's Gonna Happen Someday. And every song really has its own feel, its own sound. And I've always, like I said, I've always loved this album. This is probably in my top Bowie albums. And not because it's unknown or obscure to some degree, but because of the material on this album. When the special edition came out in the early 2000s, we as fans were lucky enough to be treated to a 2-disc set, similar cover to the original, but as you can see, it is slightly different. And on this disc, we have first disc is remixes and alternate versions of a lot of the songs on Black Tie White Noise. Some exclusive single mixes. We get the song Cool World on here, which was out in the early 90s and was only originally available on the Cool World soundtrack and then included on here as well. So this is a nice bonus disc. In addition to that, there's a DVD. And the DVD is essentially an exact duplicate of a VHS tape that was out in the 90s of the Black Tie White Noise promotional material. And it was, in my opinion, it was actually one of my favorite VHS tapes back in the day. So when I found out that it was going to be included in this set, I had to get this set because I absolutely loved the Black Tie White Noise behind the scenes. It has commentary with Bowie, a lot of dialogue by him, his thoughts on the songs, his thoughts on working with different people, the collaborations that he did, and the music videos above all, which are abundant in this collection, which is like I said, why I feel that the intention for this album was a lot greater than the actual outcome. So, Black Tie White Noise is one of those David Bowie albums that is a missing link for a lot of people, and they tend to overlook it for the more mainstream, more known material. But in my humble opinion, it is a lost and forgotten album that should be revisited, either in its special edition form, which I'd highly recommend that above all else, or even the single disc edition, which I think is also worth having. So, if you really want to get the full feel and the full spectrum of David's material, you want to check out the Black Tie White Noise Special Edition version. Like I said, this is the one that it's somewhat a little more pricey, but it's worth what you're getting because you're getting the standard CD, which is great by itself. You're getting the bonus, if I can grab it here, the bonus CD, which is also worth having and worth listening to. And behind that is the DVD. It's not in a separate case by itself. It's in a shared jewel case. And I will just show a little shot here of my David Bowie shelf. So if you like this video, if you like my channel, please click the like button, share a comment below on your thoughts, and if you agree with this, and if you like this album, if you've heard this album, and if you plan on revisiting it. Also, if you want your material to be more private, you can send me a message on Facebook. My link will be in the description below as well. And that's the best way to get a hold of me. There will be a link to my Patreon page, but as I previously stated in other videos, that page is under construction and is not currently active. So the best way to get a hold of me is through Facebook. I do check my spam folder religiously, daily, and if by chance your message does get filtered, I will see it there, and I will reply to you personally. Also, click the subscribe button if you like, and I'd love to have you as part of my YouTube family. This is Rob with Media Awareness. Enjoy David Bowie's Black Tie, White Noise. It is certainly an album to be treasured, and it's an album that I think needs more exposure in whatever form you can have it in. It's widely available to stream. The videos are widely available. I'm going to link a few of them in the description below. Not all of them because there are way too many to link. But I will link some of my favorite ones down there. And I will talk to you all soon. Have a great night. Bye.